Hello, welcome to another reading. This is for a Tuesday teaser, and today I'll be reading from the paperback version of The Counterfeiter's Daughter, Chapter 4, page 43, if you have the paperback and would like to follow along. Of course, the book is available at all major book retailers, as well as paperback versions signed on my website, victoriamarswell.com. And today, this excerpt is what I call the meeting between Jake and Madeline. So let's see how it goes. Geht es dir gut? Another man stood at the foot of the bench. Madeline gasped and flung her head upward from her lap. What? She stared at him. Sorry, I didn't mean to startle you. I asked if you're all right. Do you need any help? He spoke with an American accent. No, I'm fine. She dabbed the wetness from underneath her eyes. Are you sure? Because he gestured with his hand, the tears and all. Nerves stiffened in her neck, and she hopped up, stretching on her tiptoes beyond her 5'5" height, yet fell short of his 6-foot stature. She straightened her clothes and smoothed the wrinkles with her palms. Look, I've just attended a memorial service. She lifted her arms out to display the structure behind them. You realize we're standing outside of a church, right? He laughed. Okay, got it. I'll go. Sorry I bothered you. He pulled his hand from the pocket of his distressed brown bomber jacket and gave a single wave goodbye, turning away. Have a good evening. Wait, she twiddled her fingers. I appreciate your kindness. A smile spread across his face, and a warm sensation spilled along her spine. His blue eyes shifted focus, and his face brightened. Madeline peered over her shoulder and glimpsed at the older man that caught his attention. How are you? The older British gentleman called out while taking quick strides. Extending arms, the two men greeted each other with pats on the backs. Good to see you. The younger man's smile faded. Any sign of him yet? Madeline scratched her head. She would add the incident to her list of odd encounters. She had her own puzzle to piece together and needed time alone at the hotel. She turned, hailing a taxi, when headlights with low beams cast a glow on the cobblestone. Madeline squinted and peered at a red sports car. She blinked a couple times and shook her head. The vehicle from the hotel drove alongside, and she raised her hand, alerting the driver, Herr Drexweiler. The American guy yanked her arm down. You need to go. His eyes narrowed. Douglas, get her out of here. She stumbled backward from his grip. Hey, that's the ride to my hotel. You're staying at Hotel Fusen? How did you know? He veered and stepped in front of her. The car slowed and stopped, with the tinted windows of the BMW lowered. A voice spoke from the back seat. Jake, I am surprised you chose such a conspicuous location to meet your comrade. He leaned closer toward the open window. I thought meeting at a church would keep evil at a distance. Madeline eavesdropped, but the British man slipped his hand around her elbow and tugged her in the opposite direction. Come with me, dear. What? Who are you? My name is Douglas White. I work for Cardiff University in restoration and conservation of antiquities. I can assure you, I'm trustworthy. Trustworthy? He restores antiquities. The letter warned to trust no one. But did she trust Sam? I don't understand. I want to return to my hotel, so if you please. Madeline jerked free from his hand clasp. My associate, Mr. Nolan, will take care of everything. Don't worry. He quickened his steps. A thundering sound of a gunshot echoed throughout the sky. Madeline's body jolted, as if someone struck her with a bullet. She picked up her pace from a brisk walk to a sprint along the south side of All Saints Church. Are we safe? She gasped and slowed to a stop. Her limbs trembled, and she spun around. Douglas disappeared. He'd have to manage on his own. Besides, she hadn't caused whatever went on between those men, and refused to die for no reason. She looked in both directions on the street. Dense fog haloed around the street lamps lining the charcoal stone streets. With the shops closed, an unnatural silence lingered on the residential lane. A sheen of perspiration formed on her temples as she approached a dead end. Her pulse raced while she rushed to the back entrance of the cathedral and jerked the locked iron gates. Trapped. She kicked her foot against the gates, stubbing her toe, and pressed her lips together to silence her scream inside. Worst of all, she bumped the same toe on the desk earlier. Screeching tires resounded at the far end of the street. Her body stiffened as the rev of an engine drew nearer. A single headlight targeted Madeline, and the sound of a motorcycle ripped through the road. The motorcycle aimed for her, skidded, and stopped at the tail end inches from her feet. She stood motionless with locked knees, as if stuck in wet cement. The hooded figure on the bike flipped up the visor of a black helmet, exposing his blue eyes, revealing the stranger she encountered moments ago. Get on, he yelled over the roar of the engine. I thought someone shot you. He removed his helmet. No, not yet. Here, he tossed her the helmet. Put this on. She held it in her hands. Her gaze bounced between him and the bike. Cold air seeped through her open mouth. Why would I go with you? I don't even know you. Hurry, we need to get out of here. He motioned with his hand for her to speed up. What do you mean we? I'm not involved with... You're one stubborn lady, he shook his head. We don't have time to argue. I'm trying to help you. Did she need help? She surveyed the street and concluded she had no other choice. Her hand shuffled the oversized helmet before she placed it on her head. She raised her foot up and down off the ground 3 times, testing her aim until she swung one leg over the seat of the bike while trying to keep her balance. Placing his hand on her hip, he nudged her onto the motorcycle. Heat rose to the surface of her cheeks, and she shifted her weight, keeping a distance. He angled his head over her shoulder. Hold on tight. Madeline scrambled to grab hold of anything but him and secured her grip on the cold chrome rack behind her, where he fastened his belongings. Her abdomen twirled with the swooshing of butterflies in her belly. Sensory receptors under her skin emitted the vibration of the engine throughout her entire body. He revved the motor a few extra times before bulleting through the street. Madeline lurched forward against his torso and wrapped her arms around his waist. Her hands grasped for something to pull away from the uncomfortable position, but the high speed of the bike forced her against his back. Darkness surrounded her, with the shield of the helmet covering her eyes. Where would he take her? An icy chill paraded down her vertebral column. How did he know the name of the hotel? Madeline gasped. The front end of the motorcycle lifted off the ground as if they had taken flight and would shoot for the stars. She no longer had an immediate concern for Sam's letter and the item in her pocket. Her mind focused on one question. Who was the man she clung to and entrusted with her life? Thanks for joining me. I enjoyed that reading today. It is one of my favorite scenes. It's filled with excitement, and I feel Madeline's confusion and the chaos and the start of an adventure. I hope you're all doing well and will join me for another reading. I would love for you, the reader, to read a snippet and send it to me. I'll share it here. Thanks again. I hope you're all doing well. See you soon. Bye.